So many of us have been waiting in anticipation for more information on the villain for the next Kung Fu Panda film. At first we've known very little outside of the fact that they were set to be voiced by Hannibal star Mads Mikkelsen, and that this time around they were going to be a more supernatural threat, as opposed to the physical martial arts and weaponry based villains we've had previously. And finally that their name was revealed to be The Collector. My friend and fellow Shenhen, as she lovingly puts it, named Abby Lee, whose channel you should really go check out by the by, informed me that a concept drawing of him was leaked onto the Kung Fu Panda wiki, but has since disappeared before she could save the image, and by extension before I could get a good look at it. It doesn't help the fact that, by no fault of her own, she couldn't tell what animal it was, saying it didn't seem like an animal at all, claiming it to be about ox size, had what looked like horns, wore a moss green cape that was hunched over, not exactly muscular but not very fat either, and with one mangled leg. If you look at the wiki page now, it even describes him as having grey fur and sporting a green cloak, so perhaps this could mean that the colour association with the villain this time around will be green, as the previous antagonists Tai Lung and Lord Shen had colours heavily associated with them to carry the theme, blue and red respectively, meaning this time round it could possibly be green. The three of us got into conversation in the comments section of one of Abby's Lord Shen analysis videos. She, Cookies and I mainly got talking of our expectations of the villain for the next movie. I guessed perhaps it could have been the four-armed fiery ox demon that was dropped from the first film to be part of Tai Lung's army. And yes, I'm not joking about that, by the way. If you have the art book for the first film, you'll know what I'm on about. So our main concern is how well this new villain can be well integrated into the plot of the third film, given that the cliffhanger ending of the second movie indicates how this will follow the storyline of Po having to rediscover all the pandas that were previously thought to have been wiped out at the hands of Lord Shen's genocidal massacre, leaving baby Po to be the only survivor of, as we at first all believed. Not the least of whom includes his biological father, which will no doubt throw a wrench in the gears between Po and his adoptive father, Mr. Ping, whose adoption and acceptance of his identity he only learnt to conquer at the end of said previous movie. At first we believed that Lord Shen should have been kept alive for the first film in order to carry the conflict that he started, and would have been more thematically suitable villain to carry the storyline. However, the second film made it more than clear that Shen is probably as dead as a doornail by now, despite so many fan hopes and speculations, given how it was a semi-suicide and looked just about impossible to survive. If he honest to God survived all that, then I think he needs the Wile E. Coyote Award for endurance. Now, however, it's just been revealed lately that the villain no longer bears the name The Collector, instead it's been changed to Kai. Mads Mikkelsen has been dropped from the film, and it's now believed that Oscar winner J.K. Simmons, who had been previously cast in an unknown role for the film, may now be voicing Kai. Probably not to be mistaken for Kai, a female villain from the Kung Fu Panda Tales of Po video game. And most of all, the character himself is going to receive a massive rewrite. Probably meaning that a lot of what I've just said is going to be completely scrapped. Which isn't too surprising, given how drastic character rewrites are not uncommon for this franchise's production. Many big examples can include how Master Mantis was originally intended to be the secondary villain, and how Lord Shen was going to be the only slightly dodgy mayor of the Valley of Peace, both of which were supposed to happen in the first movie, before of course it changed to Mantis being a full-on good guy and Lord Shen becoming the main villain of the second movie. And trust me, those are just two examples. I could name so many more that's happened behind the scenes of these movies that would definitely surprise you. What little we know of Kai now is that he can bear the ability to steal powers from any Kung Fu masters, and with his threat approaching, Po has to train the other pandas previously hidden away to become Kung Fu fighters like him in order to ensure their safety. I think everyone's biggest concern in the fandom is how well developed and three-dimensional this villain can be as an actual character. Given what we have had before, we've come to expect it. I think having this big supernatural threat will certainly provide a fantastic spectacle. However, the antagonists in these films have shown to have very layered personalities and rather sympathetic motivations outside of their skills and abilities, making them work well as actual characters among the cast as well as being good villains. It was made very impressive with Tai Lung, but then the bar got raised even higher with Lord Shen, who in my opinion absolutely perfected it, creating a more perfect balance between a multi-layered antagonist with psychological baggage and having what makes him sympathetic also be what makes him a legitimately threatening and devastating driving force in the film. For a good example of what I mean, we needn't look much further than Key Parr from the TV series. While massive in his sheer size, power and intimidation, as well as being played by a brilliant actor, but when it came to his actual character beyond his abilities, he was very one-dimensional and not very interesting. For the TV series stakes, that's fine enough, but a lot more would be needed for a full-length feature. And I suppose some of us may worry that with it being a more supernatural threat, there may not be much room for a more, for lack of a better word, human element. The release date for the movie has been pushed from this year to January 2016 in order to avoid competing with the new Star Wars movies. And it's rumoured that Mads is no longer part of the project due to scheduling difficulties. One cause of concern may be that while the average movie-going audience is not going to be familiar with this, but if you're more savvy to movie criticism, then you'll know that the months of January and February are dumping grounds for movie release dates. At least for the more commercial blockbusters, as this is when usually the worst films are released and gotten out of the way first, as the more successful blockbusters and higher quality films are released a lot later. If they do choose to release it in either January or February, it may prove detrimental. I mean, it's not fair, certainly, but once you've noticed it enough, it's hard to shake. But aside from that, I don't have much in the way of pessimism for these changes. J.K. Simmons is a great actor in and of himself. Voice acting certainly won't be a problem, as his role as Cave Johnson in the Portal games is certainly a testament to that. So if he is the one cast in the villain role, then I am more than certain he's going to sell it. That's to say, if he is cast at all. DreamWorks hasn't officially confirmed that he is, but it's mainly speculation at this point. Also, Jennifer Hugh Nelson is set to direct this film just as she did the second, which certainly fills me with confidence. I'm sure there are many other things I could talk about in terms of expectations for the film, but I'll keep it to the subject at hand. So, what do you all reckon? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, on a side note, I've just realised recently that some bits of narration for the top 10 Kung Fu Panda characters may be of poor quality, especially in terms of my own voice. I've noticed a couple times it doesn't come out clearly enough, or I sometimes accidentally slip into an American twang for some reason rather than my natural accent. So I'm gonna have to re-record some bits of narration again, which sadly means further delay. My deepest apologies for this, and I hope to get back on track.